What's up? How you doing, guys? Episode 94, almost to 100. So that'll be interesting when we finally make it there. This week we'll do another guest appearance with GP. So Ground Pounder will join us. What's up, Dano? Peter's here. Cool. Yeah. Also, I got kind of a few things. I think maybe since I kind of changed things up. How are we doing, Peter? The Saw video was awesome. It sounded good. Shoot, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, last time when we did the interview with GP, I didn't have like the list of questions, so I kind of want to go through some of them maybe with him, and I have some other ones, but I may have a very, very fun and interesting interview to do with like an OG when it comes to tree work on YouTube. So I'm stoked on that. I think Nokerborn knows who I'm talking about. So yeah, I would be totally stoked for that one. So analytics, do that, then we'll get on to the normal stuff. What's cool is I have the one from last week now. Oh, and wow, okay. So I did 2 videos. I did a bunch of shorts last week showing some stuff, some tips and tricks. I'll probably do a lot more of those. We did 1 live feed instead of 2, 15.4 thousand people, 63 new subs. A couple of the shorts is what was like the most viewed stuff. 684 likes, which last week was 460. We got 30 shares. So whoever's doing that, you guys are awesome. I appreciate that so much. And then 60 comments, which was, I think, yeah, a little over what we did the month before or the week before. Somehow I still made less with only, yeah, I somehow made less. I don't know how that is, and only made like $14, but it made a few bucks, which is kind of cool to think, because I mean I definitely didn't start making these because I thought I would get some money, but yeah, and a cool little fact that I just found out and that I kind of wanted to bring up is that the videos are being seen on either more of a global scale, so the captions are being used for like language translations, or hearing impaired and stuff. And that's why I did a lot of my stuff. I try to label a lot of the stuff. So I ended up with like 12,200 and something views last 90 days with captions. So that's way more than I normally get. So I'm kind of stoked on that. But let's add GP. Oh shoot, it just went off. I was too late. Let's see who's here. Dan, what's up, Dan? We got Dan K. Yeah, Nokerborn. I am stoked. Hopefully I can get him to give me his information so we can do that interview with him. I was just telling everybody about it, and I really, really would enjoy it. So. Oh, you like the short post? Christian, that's awesome. Dang. What up, man?
What's going on?
Oh, nothing.
There
man,
we go.
You're at 1,400 already, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
You're picking up steam.
It's the shorts, man.
It works, man. It brings in traffic.
Yeah, for sure it does. Absolutely. What's going on, Dan? Dano, both you Dans.
Yeah, I know that one gets tricky.
Yeah.
Dano, awesome on hitting 1,000, dude. That is, I've been waiting for that. That should have happened years ago.
Long
So
time ago.
I definitely wanted to give him a shout for that because if you haven't watched Dano's, definitely go over and check his stuff out. But dude, you like tripped me out when you stuck your hand in the trap. I'm just gonna be
Yeah.
real. I'm like,
Really?
oh my god, don't do it. And then I thought it was like, see, I don't know nothing about trapping, so I thought that was cool.
So so I'm gonna tell you, I think that has spawned onto something. Ironically, I just so happen to have a lot of different traps and many different kinds, many different manufacturers. And I think I might be sticking my hands in some traps for everybody's entertainment just to prove points.
That's crazy. That is crazy. I seen that. I was like, oh my god, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they're not that bad, man.
Also, I seen. I think Peter is up over 500 now. Um, on his channel, and then did you check out his video where the groundy about got his truck?
Yes.
That definitely is the most perfect example how a branch and a chunk of wood. There's no they're two absolutely different things when they're traveling down that line on a speed line.
Oh,
It's wild.
100%. And yeah, 100%.
It's
And
crazy.
that's it's interesting that you're saying that because my boys and I were just talking that exact same thing over dinner before I joined the live stream.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like a I would
What's
say
going on? All trees, all seasons.
it almost like gives it a mechanical like the way they respond. There's just nothing adding any drag, and all that weight dropping into it puts a dip in the line, and then it rides that dip all the way down that rope, which almost lets it go at a clean free fall, not like riding a line or zip lining. It's at a free fall because of all the weight that, like, I've seen it in slow motion, and because I had to, like, it didn't make any sense to me because if a certain amount of weight is going down that line, they should respond similar. But it's the way it drops into the line, and I think it rides like a dip of like a wave in the rope, and it almost like that wave goes down and it just rides it.
That kind
And
of makes that makes sense.
it's trippy because then
Also,
when it hits, it's coming at 900 mile an hour, and it's like you don't know where it's going.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
What do we got? 10 people here, 6 thumbs up.
All trees. What's up?
9.
What's the special guest this week? Oh, we got Ground Pounder.
That's me.
Dude, I
I'm
will.
ground pounder.
Yeah, that's you. I'm thinking I was gonna kind of keep it a secret, but everybody on here, I might as well just tell. Do you ever follow Tree Boy?
So I'll tell you what, I used to watch him and I didn't know that was who it was, as silly as it
Oh,
sounds.
really?
So
Yeah.
I subscribed to his channel a long time ago and was watching him, and that was, I guess, before I was commenting and so on and so forth. And who's the kid with the beard? So sorry, but anyway, when I don't know where I seen you were talking about with Tree Boy in one of your shorts or videos or something in the comments. I seen you guys were talking, so
Yeah,
I went and checked him out again, and yeah, I made sure I was subscribed to him.
dude. Just talk about like a legit OG. I I don't know. Like I'm so thankful for that because my dad taught me the basics. My dad gave me all the knowledge that it takes to keep me alive in this, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
and to get a job done. But all the extra stuff with any extra tools, with any tools at all come from guys like on the internet and me experimenting with things. So like, dude, he has some killer videos, and I'm just kind of, I don't even think he posts anymore, does he?
So I just went and checked him out, and he just had a video come out just recently.
See?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to check it out then. Yeah, because I was kind of curious because, dude, there wasn't a bunch of tree videos on the internet when I started looking his up. And I was like, because it would recommend his nonstop.
Sure.
And
That's why I said, man, I ended up watching his channel, but that was a long time ago. Yeah,
yeah, and I mean, I'm not trying to state the obvious, but a black man in the tree industry is just a rare thing. And he seems to have been in it for a very long time. I don't think I've even known another black guy that's done tree climbing. I don't I don't know. It's like I'm trying to think of one and I can't. It's wild. And I'm like,
uh,
wow. I wonder if he kind of I just want to know it from his region and like how he does things because he let I feel like he let everybody in on everything he did. Like it wasn't just go there, cut a tree. He just kind of let you in on all aspects of it. And dude, I dug his stuff so much. I thought it was so awesome. So I'm kind of curious. I'd like to definitely like to do the interview with him.
oh yeah, that'd be awesome. He seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah, I wonder who got him into it or if he like who he watched on the internet before what made him start making videos. That's one thing that I love about the interviewing a guy who makes videos. Someone that you've seen inspired you to make a video. And like,
Me? I
hey, everybody. I mean, me too.
absolutely.
I mean, I seen one and I was like, I can do that. Like, I can do that. I may not be as good, but I can do that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. You see some of them guys kind of getting out of it now, and it's like, oh no, hold up. Like a lot of us new guys didn't invent a lot of this stuff. Like there's guys who invented it. It's been long enough we can regurgitate it now. And everybody looks at you like you're a genius sometimes. And it's like, well, not really. But so I try to give as much credit as I can when I do stuff like that.
Right.
But that's definitely not the norm. You can see people are very quick to do a how-to video after they learn something for the first time. So, but
Yeah, we are. Hey, Greg Bridgeburner, I got your email earlier today, buddy. I seen that. I'll be hitting you up sometime soon, probably the next couple of days, buddy. So
because he
so
watched him before he ever even climbed. That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't even know this kind of stuff was. I think that's the reason I finally watched YouTube. That's the first time, the only reason I got on Facebook because my wife told me there's a tree group there, and I'm like, what?
so since we're talking about old YouTube stuff, some of the stuff that I learned the most from, and it's really old school videos and stuff. What is it? Arbor Pod, I think it is. The guy wears
Yeah,
mittens.
yeah,
He wears
yeah,
mittens and stuff when he's cutting.
yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's interesting. I've never seen anybody wear mittens, but what, I mean, hey, whatever. I don't,
Over over in Spain, I think they have to wear these wrist things. It's like a leather pad thing. It goes over your wrist, and I think
yeah,
they have to. I have a buddy. It's like Jai Slane or something like that, and he's I think one of the ambassadors or like sponsored kind of by Quran, and he's a really good climber. But yeah, he's always got to. Actually, he's the dude who was on the palm tree when it caught on fire. That guy. He was taking
Dude,
down a palm tree and it caught on fire, and then he's had to get out of it while it was completely engulfed.
that's insane, man.
Yeah, it was wild. That video was nuts. I still have yet to see the entire video and how the hell he
Oh
got down.
gosh. I can't think of who the heck it was, man. Oh man, it's totally slipping my mind now. But have you seen the guy? There was a guy cutting down a giant tree after a forest fire. Anyway, he drops it, and a freaking bear runs out of the damn thing.
Oh,
He lit as that tree is going over. You can literally see the bear run out from the freaking backside of that fucking tree. It was a bear, man.
so what did the bear run up the tree to get away from the fire? Maybe.
I have no idea, but it was inside this tree, and he came through to fall it. And as it was, going over on the freaking wedge, it fucking a bear ran out. I cannot.
What the
I
hell?
can't. Yeah, I can't. I wish I knew what freaking who that was, but
I
that's
I
old.
just
That's old
I just
too.
seen a YouTube short where a guy was riding his dirt bike through the woods and he fell, and where he fell was at a bear den, and the bear came out and he like revved his engine a couple times and luckily got it from killing him, but he landed right at
Jesus
the entrance of the
Christ.
bear cave. I'm like, dude, no,
Oh, I can't even imagine that.
it's insane.
So, I'll put you on the spot here. I'm putting you on the spot. So, TCIA, what's up, man? You going, or are you not going, or you don't know yet, or what?
Ah, like
What do
if
I
I'm
gotta
being
come?
honest, like I shouldn't. Like I am like everything is so slow right now and I am snapped ass broke. I just got my truck yesterday, which I haven't been able to do shit. Like I haven't
Do
been
I
able
need
to
to
do
come and
anything.
do I need to come and kidnap you, Mike?
But that's what I'm saying. I could maybe shoot up there for a day or something. I don't know. I just need to
So,
see. The only bad part is that it's so close, and I just need a couple days to try to get some shit figured out, and then I could, but and I need to. So
yeah, you should.
We're going Thursday.
yeah, I
We
know.
we will. I will be there Thursday. I'm going. So I got a place down in St. Louis for a couple of nights, and I will be there Thursday, and then I might Friday, depending on how Thursday goes. I don't know. I'm just kind of gonna kind of wander around on Thursday.
Um, hmm.
Now think about it, man.
How much is it to get in?
If you buy the tickets before now, it's $25. You got to go online through their website, and then you got to register. It's kind of a little bit of a process, but I figured it out. So I feel like you could. So they're $25 online before the show, or 40 at the door.
Okay.
And that's just your basic like admission, you know what I mean? And then my wife was looking it up, and I says, hey, check out all the what and the VIP passes and whatever, and you could go there and spend thousands if that's what you want to do.
Damn.
Like,
Some of the stuff I could see spending the money, if you really wanted to like pick some of the brains of some of the people and you're like business is
yep,
growing so fast, you're like, what did you do? What did you so yeah, that would be a place where if you're smart, you'd walk in like a sponge and just take up. I'm when
it's
I asked, no one answered me. Like I didn't hear anybody say that they was going when I asked, and I'm like, damn. So I mean, I need to. I would love to go solely to go up there and see the guys from Gap because I've never met them. You know, they've sent me some really cool stuff, but um, that I want. But then I was like, well, I definitely go if some of the subscribers was going, and then now you say you're going, so I feel like I definitely
you
need
got
to
to
try
go
to figure it
now.
out. But
Hey Dano, ironically, so there's a guy in a town over from me that I've been watching him come up through with his equipment throughout the years, and tree guy Dan, and so he started climbing with an old chipper and got himself a bucket truck, so on and so forth. And then that dude literally just got one of those chipper trucks like you pictured the other day. The son of a bitch is green and everything.
Oh, that little truck. Is that the one you're
No,
talking
it's
about?
no, Dano posted on his community page uh, like a flat face Isuzu, or
Yeah.
it was a GMC, that particular one.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like Dano needs a little more than a mini truck.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, dude, my dad apparently he said I must have been too little to remember it, but apparently he like took down a tree one time and ended up with two of those trucks. And he's like, I hauled them both home at the same time on my 2 ton. He said I just put them both in the back. And so apparently he had two of them. And I don't know what the hell happened to him because I don't ever remember him. But he apparently ended up with two of those little trucks, and he's like, it was the funnest thing I ever had.
I
He's like, I
want
used
to
to put it in
get
the
a
back of this truck and then take it to there. And then when I got in town, I'd park my big truck, pull that thing out, and drive it around town. So that's pretty sweet.
have any of you viewers have you guys heard of Unimogs before? If I was to have a ideal chip truck, it would be a Unimog. And then I likely would put a roll off box on it. That way I could have a flatbed or a dump bed on it, either one.
Yeah, those I don't know. I've been trying to make the
That's a that,
decision to move up to like a 3/4 1 ton, something like that. So I don't know. I should.
you know, a lot of people are really happy with with whatever you work with, whatever you got,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah, I'm the poster boy for that. Have you guys seen the new Camp Gyro Ascender Descender all trees ass? I
I
guess
have not.
no, I haven't.
I have not myself.
I would imagine it's probably something along the lines of like the Gree or the Rad, which is the Gree, but the cam is turned the other way so that it works a little smoother.
I've
But
been I've been kind of looking forward to this whole Reg Coates. He come out with that video, kind of doing a video on his device and
yeah,
everything like that. But
the,
I don't.
and then
Is
he's
that
like,
thing? Yeah,
I'm like, what? So we're not ever gonna talk about this again? I got all stoked about it, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh, I
What
can't wait.
what? I
And
don't
then
know what
nothing.
the hell happened with it.
Well, I think he's dealing with so many issues with trying to sell it, like um restrictions and like all the little. I think it's getting that certifications for the SE and stuff.
Hmm. I'm sure.
So,
Yeah, Unimogs are badass, aren't they, guys? What's going on, Mister Dreff Schroeder?
oh, Schroeder's here. What is up? Yeah.
And two old farts tree service. I love that name, man.
Is that
Oh,
what that stands for?
yeah, two old farts tree service.
Dude, you gotta like you should have said that a few times. I'll never forget that name now.
I
Like
know. Cause
I've always just tops. That's what
yeah,
I damn, okay. Yeah, I just in my head you were always tops. 5,500 with a switch and go. Where do you find it? What do you use it for? I guess he's asking the gyro ascender. Yeah, yeah, I would imagine it's something along that lines of like a loaded cam. But dude, I used that Canute
yeah.
knot the other day, and it's it's got
It's kind of jumpy, isn't it?
it is so grippy, so grippy that like but I guess you're playing that fine line of like, do you want to be able to tend it up really quick and easy? Then the knot's going to have a bunch of setback in it, and it's going to have to not involve a bunch of crossing and just like I, it's hard to explain. I tried to use it DRT, hated the response. Didn't like that at all. I used it with, and I'm not telling anybody to do this. So I'm going to test this for quite a while before I even put my own name there on it. And I wouldn't say ever use it for primary. But what I did, and this video is coming up, you guys will see it soon. I'll probably do it next. I had to do this oak that like went up and then just out flat. And our oaks sometimes do that. I don't
What's
know
up,
why,
John?
but they go up and just go completely horizontal, and they'll go out over a house. So there was nothing really to be tied into, and
Yeah,
so
I hate those things, man. They're giant fishing poles. That's all they are,
yeah,
and they're almost. The good thing about them is for us around here, when we get a pin oak, is I call them a pin oak. If they just come up and just go on a big old fishing pole kind of arch,
oh really?
there's it's almost always because there's a tree crowding it up on top. So
Yeah,
thankfully, the good thing is you get a good rigging point or tie-in point.
yeah. Usually it'll go out over a structure, because that's where it gets its light. So it kind of stretches out over the structure because that's where it's gonna get. Because the other one's keeping it from growing. So
Mm-hmm.
apparently there was a big massive tree there that uprooted at one point. So I think that's why it grew all funny. But
Mm-hmm.
I stuck my rope up in a little shagbark hickory. It wasn't but maybe this big around and probably 80 foot tall. But if you know a shagbark hickory, that thing's it's good. It's good. It's gonna twist, and it's gonna be a bit of a swing, like it's gonna sway. But I set my rope up in the top of it. I knew it was gonna be solid. But when I got up in the tree, I was so far from my tie-in point. When I got out on the horizontal,
Mm-hmm.
it got a little tricky, and I'm like, ah. So that's where I used the canoe. Well, dude, I didn't like it DRT, but when I single lined with it and used it with just a pulley and no rope wrench as a single line, dude, it's fire. Like it worked so perfect. So
For decent, you descended on that?
yeah, I was going down. Like I took my slack out of my. I was with what was I? I used the gree in the because I figured I'm only going up with it, and then when I come down, I'll use the canoe. But I didn't like how it was working, so I set it up SRT and just used it like that. And yeah, it was really smooth for me.
So I
How
think
many wraps?
I think the problem is using just hitch cord alone for your descent on SRT like that is just the amount of heat that so like a long descent or anything like that, just is like certainly not recommended as the way I understand it. But I have heard of people running it just a friction hitch like that on SRT, various different ones for that matter.
It was, dude. It was grabby still. Like there was no chance of any slipping or like it didn't move until I compressed it. So,
Yeah, I like
but
the for
I
that
wouldn't
kind
say,
of stuff. I like the
yeah, I wouldn't.
hitchhiker, man. I know Dano rocks the hitchhiker, and I have a hitchhiker XF, and I really like those devices because it's still you can still play around with hitch cord and different hitches and so on and so forth.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But I was very surprised. Like it responded to like I may have put too many up wraps because, and I may have been using maybe I need a little longer of a friction or of a hitch cord because it would kind of get in a bind where the pulley was at. The two pieces when I was going DRT, like the where the two eyes meet, it would just press them apart, and it wasn't lining up like some of my other ones do. But I had look. I feel like I needed more like hang off of the actual knot. I didn't have much. Like I barely got the eyes through on the knot. Well, it's right here. Here, actually, I'll show you, and you could. We'll check comments real quick.
That's what I like about hitch cord systems, man. You can play around with them. I mean, there's so many different options for it
Yeah,
versus
I like.
just here's your mechanical. That's how it works. You know.
Well, damn. I
Hey,
was gonna say it's
what's
right
going
here,
on,
but
James?
I took it off the rope. I thought I left it on it.
So I gotta chime in. I see you guys talking about dump trailer. Look, I don't know if anybody guys talk about it, but so I was in need of a larger container to haul my chips, and I was going to buy a big dump truck. Well, I didn't want to buy a big dump truck because I have plates, insurance, and all that maintenance on it. So I ended up buying a dump trailer. Dump trailer is, yeah. So even if my truck breaks down, I can at least unhook it and call a friend or whatever and be like, hey, can you at least get my dump trailer home or whatever instead of my giant dump truck? The cost of commercial plates and everything here in Michigan on those type of vehicles are freaking crazy, man.
Dude, I don't know who it was, but when I was first building this channel, there was someone who was trying to give me a dump trailer. Like legit trying every day. Offered me, he said I got two
Yeah,
of them.
James.
And I'm like, my mind was blown. I'm like, no, dude, I can't do that. No, 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 no. I kept like telling him no, no, but he offered it to me so many times. And it just that's a couple of the things that have blown my mind since I've been doing YouTube. The
Sure.
people you meet, like who just gives away a dump trailer? He sees this hillbilly who doesn't have one, and he's like, "Let me give you
Yeah.
this." I'm like,
You
"No, dude,
you
you can't do that."
you're right. But 1 tons are plenty strong enough, guys. I run a 1 ton dually and in fact, a lot of the times 3/4 ton is gonna be just fine too. If you're trying to finance a 1 ton, I don't know how it is for everybody in other states, but like once you start financing a 1 ton, it's a commercial vehicle and it's usually a commercial loan. So
It's
a
in
lot of
Missouri.
I'm
In
sorry.
Missouri, if it's a flatbed, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a full 1 ton. If it's a flatbed, it's a commercial vehicle.
Yeah. I yeah, I got a flatbed on my truck, you know.
Yeah, that's what you take a picture of it with the bed on it, or you take a picture of one with the bed and be like, "This is what I got."
Yeah.
That's what I did. That's that's what we did with the insurance lady. It was like, there's no sense in it. It's a
So
pickup truck with a flatbed.
well, I get away with my flatbed because I got farm plates on it. So
That too.
I got a farm plate on my truck. It's my personal truck, so
Yeah, and it probably stays right there local. So
oh
I
yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah,
all
and
it's
if
following all the rules.
if I am rolling in the truck anywhere, it's generally so I went to Iowa with it to pick up a chipper, but that was it.
So I didn't have all them questions when I talked to you the first time. There's a few of them that I want to ask you. So let me see if I can find them because
All
I,
right.
I want to put you on the spot here. You know how
All
I
right,
am.
put me on the spot. Oh my god, he put me on the spot and then he left, guys. You see that? That's 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 messed up. Hey, it's the Ground Pounder Show. What's up, y'all?
Dude, I came out here the other day and was looking for an extension cord, and I got underneath my chair, my like recliner that's sitting here,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a power cord hooked to it, and that power cord had melted to the extension cord. And there's a few times when I was in here where I smelt metal and like plastic burning, and I fucking
What
freaked. I'm like, I'm about burnt the
what
place down.
What kind of Clark Griswold shit do you got going on in there?
Dude, you have no clue. I have so many things. I run a lot of power cords because I need them to blow up before it gets to the wall. That's how I do it.
No.
So
Yeah, Clark Griswold. You remember that crap when he was out there trying to get all his lights to work and everything?
that's very relatable. I'm telling
Yeah,
you, that's
I
very
know.
relatable for me.
That skit is hilarious, man.
Okay, what is what's your most memorable customer, or most memorable tree that you've done?
Okay, that's
Let's do
real
that.
easy, actually. So years ago, long time ago, it was actually probably my first. I'm gonna say my first like big job, like tree job. At that time, I was doing everything under the sun I could to make a buck. So anyway, I went and bid this job and everything like that. And it was a guy that worked with me that kind of pushed me into doing tree work and that sort of thing. He's the one that gave me the confidence and he kind of lined me up with this job. So anyway, I go over to this lady's house. I bid a job and I thought I was completely wasting my time, man, because honestly, it was in the damn job was in a ghetto. The freaking tree was kind of huge. Anyway, long story short, man, I bid this job and I get into it and everything like that. And I ended up losing my ass, long story short. I mean, I'm sure we've all been there. And back then I didn't know how to price jobs. I didn't know what my worth was or anything like that. So I did this lady's job, okay? Yeah, and at the end of the job, we're all cleaned up. I tell her, "Hey, lady, I'm done." And so I go in, and she's gonna pay me. She hands me an envelope, and it was a pretty hefty envelope. And I'm like, "Well, thanks." I thought it was all in 20s or whatever it was. So I always sometimes, man, I feel like it's almost rude to count your money in front of the customer.
I don't. I don't
Well,
do that. And they tell me all the time. Nowadays, people are always like counting, and I'm like,
sure.
ah, dang it, I
Yeah,
don't even like doing it.
and I get that. So anyway, I put it in my pocket and I'm like, all right, well, thanks a lot. It was cool. See you later. She's like, hey, can you count that? I'm like, sure, I'll count it. And I pull it out and there's the money that I see. And there's another envelope inside of there. And I open that envelope up and it was literally the most freaking money cash I have ever held on to that at that point in my life, man. And she hands it to me and it was $3,000.
Woo-hoo!
I'm not even joking. This is a true story, man. She gave me a $3,000 tip, and Mike, I started crying, man. I,
What the
you
hell you
know,
do?
dude, I was like, that made at that moment that was absolutely life changing money for me, and yeah, and that was at a job that I thought I was completely wasting my time to go look at. The house was in a ghetto across the street from a really, really crummy hotel that has quite the reputation. So, I mean, it is in all the places that you would think you're not going to get, you're not going to get the job here. These people don't have the money per se. The prejudiced per se. And
Yeah,
yeah,
a little
she
bit of
blew three
little bit
thousand
of
dollar tip.
stereotyping,
What's that?
a little bit of like stereotyping and reading a book, the
Yeah,
cover, but
I'm I'm just being honest, man. And yeah, so that is my by far my most memorable job, my most
I
memorable customer.
I could see why.
And she, she told me that she didn't want to see me get screwed, and that what she paid me was still far less than all the other quotes that she had gotten from other people.
That's wild. That is a good one, dude. No, we probably wouldn't have got that story any other way. That's crazy.
No, no.
That's, that's kind of what I think I'm hoping for with some of these weird questions because I'm just I'm a person who
I'm sorry, Greg, that I know you do jobs in the hood all the time. But you can get a $5,000 tip. I think they sell $5,000 candy bars all the time.
What's up, Jake? Jake's right. I use my power cords for fuses. That way I don't burn stuff up.
Power cords for fuses.
But
Oh, wow.
yeah, I have a lady that she always does I want you because I know you'll give me a good deal. She always makes sure she says that. And I'm like, so when I bid it, she's like, well, what would it normally cost? She always does that like it's crazy. And
Sure.
I'm already on my like cheap route. And she does that, and I'm like, I almost lose it every time. And this took like 3 or 4 times before I started catching on. And then I had to ask her, and she's like, yeah. But she kind of does that, and I'll do it, and I'll tell her what this is what it should be worth. Well, she'll give me that, and then she's giving me an extra 500 on top of it. And she's done this more than once. And so it's like, I don't know. And it's the most unexpected ones. And, I don't know. I just wish I had it like that because doing that kind of stuff feels good. Like, as much as I appreciate it, I know how good that feels when they do that because I try to do that kind of stuff. And when you can do that for somebody, it's sometimes you almost feel bad because you see how much it helps them and they just like lose it. But it feels good for the person who gives it too, because hell, if you helped them out and they like, that's the best when you see somebody who appreciates someone's kindness and
Absolutely.
reciprocates instead of just, haha, I got one over on somebody today. There's 90% of the world's running through life doing that. So that's pretty cool to hear. What's the worst one?
Oh,
I'll give you some time. I'll read a few comments.
it don't have to be a tree job, does it?
No.
It's just a job.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Don't bet on the three-legged dog. That's the only tip he gets in the hood. That's funny. Yeah, I get don't take wooden nickels. That's what they usually tell me. Or the
Um,
worst ones when they say, if you like the tip, you can have the rest. And I'm like, no, get the hell away. So shit gets weird in the hood sometimes.
yeah, shit gets really weird in the hood sometimes, man. I mean, yeah,
Ah,
yes, it does. Um, well, my wife is sitting here in the background whispering multiple different jobs.
women remember them all, man.
So,
They remember, no,
uh,
you ain't going back there. They was a dickhead last time. That's my wife would do that same stuff. I
uh,
swear.
all right, so yeah, I've not always done trees. So I decided to just do whatever I could. That led to long story short, I advertised on Craigslist for a long time. I had a pickup truck and I would do pretty much anything it was with that pickup truck to make money. And that led to eviction cleanouts, junk cleanups, whatever. So you could call me up on the phone and be like, hey, man, I got a bunch of trash. And I'd come to your place and I'd pick it up. So anyway, this customer calls me. I go to the job. She's got a whole garage full of shit. And she's in the house, but, the garage is attached to the house. So I get there, I look at it, and I'm like, it's like $200 or whatever the hell it was. I tell her to get rid of all this trash for her. And I back my truck up into the driveway. And so the lady hands me my money and she goes in the house and shuts the door. So I back my truck up into the driveway and I start throwing all this shit in my trailer and everything like that. Next thing I know, this lady's driving down the street. Well, she stops, opens up the door, starts screaming at me. What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? And I'm thinking, well, who the hell is this person? So
Yeah.
anyway, so I'm like, I'm working. Leave me alone. What's your problem? You know what I mean? I'm working here. So I just keep throwing shit away, and then I just get to a point I'm ignoring her. Well, that just pisses her off.
Oh
So
God.
she starts getting louder. Well, I'm in the hood, so that attracts attention of everybody. It seems like. Next thing you know, I'm standing there and I've got probably 30 people standing in front of this house, all wondering what the hell I'm doing, yelling and screaming at me, telling me to stop doing what I'm doing because all that stuff that was in the garage was that lady's that was yelling at me to stop. What had happened
Oh.
was, what had happened was, is those two were friends, right? That one lady had all her crap in that my customer's garage. Well, they must have had a falling out. They must have been owed something. So they called me. I got to go over there and throw every damn thing away. And yeah, so that was probably the worst job. My worst jobs were eviction cleanouts and trash throws away, when throwouts, man. Like
Yeah, I can get that because
eviction,
I
eviction.
feel for people that are going through that kind of shit. Like
I do
I
too,
hate
man.
to
But
see
I
it.
do too. I'm in a kind of a catch 22.
Yeah.
The lady's like,
And she's
"Yep,
already paid you, so she's gonna be pissed if you don't do what she paid you for. So it's
yep,
like it's a no-win situation.
it's a no-win situation." So I'm saying that one was a bad one. And then I did a spring cleanup one time. Me and my buddy, we went out there and worked our asses off. And as far as I'm concerned, you couldn't even got this lady's yard any cleaner. I go up, hey lady, I'm done with your yard, and she walks out and picks up a freaking acorn. She literally walked out in her yard, picked up an acorn, and was like starting to ridicule me about how she wants every single acorn out of her yard. And she's not going to pay me nothing until every single thing is out of her yard because she had True Green Grass Company coming to seed her property. And she wanted every square inch to be covered in grass seed. So my response to that was ask my buddy Roy, who was working with me at the time. We dumped all her leaves in the middle of her yard again and left.
Yeah. The appropriate answer and response.
So
Dude,
yeah,
I just
it hasn't been tree jobs, man. It's all been I've done some pretty ugly jobs, man.
I just retied that Canute with a little longer of a hitch cord and with one less wrap. I think I put too many wraps here.
Could be. I have not used it. I have not used the canoe. Yeah, the reed dump. You
Yeah,
got
because
it.
look at the gap there. I had when I was doing this before, this was all the way up here. So I'm gonna have to check that out. Try that a few times.
The reed dump.
And I feel like someone's playing a trick on me when we call it the Canute because I'm pretty sure it's probably just nut. Because They're like,
I mean,
you're a nut if you even attempt to use this knot.
it could be.
Yeah, because it's KN. I've never seen another word where you pronounce the K when it's followed by an N. You know, so
Wildwood
cool.
Jake.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think nobody just wants to say nut. I use the nut knot.
I
So
use the not.
yeah.
Come on, dog. Get in here. Jesus.
When I hear ladder and cut down a tree, I check the obituaries. Oh no. I've seen some wild stuff on ladders. Like, but I've also seen some very innovative like customers. They've like doing tree work in the neighborhood will inspire a yahoo 3 houses down to
Oh,
get his ladder out. It may be the next day.
how many
It's
of you
usually
got?
one of those 2 day jobs where you come back the next day to finish up and you find the neighbor out in his yard with his ladder popped up and he's sending a top out of a Bradford pear or something. It's like, oh my God,
I don't
yes.
have a chainsaw. So how many of you guys, when you go to a tree job, you do obviously we got to run a chainsaw and stuff when we're at work. And within just a few hours of you being there, somebody across the street or somebody within earshot is now running a chainsaw. Like it seems that like you get there and you start working, and the next thing you know, it's like dude across the
Every neighbor's
street
out
is
mowing their grass. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, they're out there leaf blowing or they're out there running I watched a couple guys cut down some crazy trees, man, when I was freaking working and we would stop to watch them.
Yeah. Dude, that just happened yesterday when I was doing that tree that went horizontal. Apparently, I was parked on a dude's property. I thought it was the lady's property, and there was like this little game trail that kind of went around. And it looks like big enough you could get a truck in, but it didn't have gravel. It was just leaves, but you could see tracks that went through there. So I'm like, I'll park here. Well, sure as shit, I'm up in the tree and I just getting started, and I look out, and here comes a dude on a little gator and wearing his hunting stuff, and I'm like, ah, man. And so he like pulls up to the back of my truck, stares it down, drives around it and circles around it and just shakes his head like, and I'm like, ah, he's pissed. Well, he makes it around the truck. Then he stops, backs up to my truck, gets out, and goes straight to the customer's door. And I'm like, oh man. And so I'm just trying to pretend like I didn't see him. Like, oh no,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, I'm
yeah.
just up here working,
Oh,
man.
didn't see you there.
Don't-
Well, apparently, then I look a few minutes later, and he said he is now parked in the yard, her yard, and is just staring me down. And I'm like, oh shit. So I'm working at a pretty good pace. Didn't take me long to get this thing on the ground. And we rig it out and I get down, he's still there, and I go walking by him and I'm trying to like not even look at him. And apparently while I was up in the tree, he went knocked on the door and was like, hey, do you mind if I park and watch him? And that's all he was doing. He said he don't care that I'm parked there. I had made this story up in my head that this guy's all pissed off and like I'm stressing, and he just wanted to watch. And
Yeah,
man,
I've had that happen to me too, man.
yeah, where you're like you're driving or someone's staring at your vehicle and you're like, what the fuck are you looking at? And he's
What's your
getting the
problem?
number up. He needs his tree taken down. Like, oh no, I don't know, man. That's my biggest flaw is I'm not the best people person. I'm not the guy that's gonna go introducing himself in a crowd of people. I've just never been that guy. You probably have to come up to me before I say a word to you. That's just
My back.
not good for trying to run a business. I'll tell you that.
No. Oh goodness.
Feel cheated and that I don't bring out 3120 for an apple prune. Yeah, it is. Nowadays, there's so many cool tools. I usually shut people down pretty quick when they're like, well, you didn't even climb it. I'm like, no shit, because I spent $1,500 on a pole saw. Why don't
Yeah,
you do that?
so
Like, like come on.
hey,
So
for you guys that actually like know me, would you guys believe that I have been trimming trees for the last month, Mike?
oh really?
I have been actually trimming trees for about the last month. It's
Dude,
amazing.
I kind of I like it. I mainly got into it trying to grow my own trees and fix them and see what I could make a tree do. And after I started doing some of that stuff and looking things up and like why did this branch die but this branch didn't, and like after I cut stuff, you're always looking back at what you did, and just things. So there were so many reasons, like things that would happen that I would just try to just overlook because I didn't know what they were, and I would just be like, "Oh, that just happens," just like every other tree guy does. Well, sometimes they just don't go like, there's something
Yeah,
that
I'm
probably happened.
definitely not going to say I'm no certified arborist or anything. Dude, I'll
No,
tell
but
be the first one to say that now, but
there's
uh I've
simple
got some
guidelines that
I've
you
got
can
some
follow.
I've got some customers with campgrounds, and they're all predominantly oak trees, and
Oh,
they have to be deadwooded and trimmed every
yeah.
single year, man. So it's kind of cool. I go in there, and this guy, he's got a great big campground, and there's like 85 campsites there, and he just gives me a map of the campground, basically where he wants work done, and then he turns me loose. So kind of have fun doing that.
Yeah, I feel like I sometimes, dude, I feel like I just showed up and gave that tree the sweetest hairdo, and now it's in like around all the other trees, like peacocking. Like it's the man.
Yeah.
'Cause sometimes you can just make something look amazing with doing very little.
Hmm.
So I think that's where my main interest probably started with it.
I just
My
try to
first
make them
stuff
look
was
a
like
little,
Yeah, my
you know.
first stuff was like deadwooding pin oaks and stuff, and lifting canopies. And I lifted canopies for over a decade before I realized there's a certain height and like limit to lifting canopies. And if you go above or beyond that, depending on the tree size, you're now forcing and telling that tree to grow taller than it's supposed to, which will eventually cause the tree to break. And that's stuff that I didn't know nothing about. But then later found out, like, oh, so if I tell it can't have limbs, it's going to put more on the top. And I didn't know a lot of that stuff. So there's, I don't know, some of it you never use. Like, there's things that I feel like I've learned that I've never had to use.
I like the simple approach, Greg Bridge burner. The simple approach. Remove that tree. I'm
Yeah.
like, perfect.
But I mean,
Like,
trimming's not that hard. Oh, there's like
no, I know.
a few little guidelines that even if you were doing full crown reductions, if you bring that lead back to the next or vertical limb that is a third in diameter, and you're doing it at the right time, there's not a whole lot to it. I feel like the hardest part to it is having the imagination to see it before you cut it.
Yeah.
Like, standing at the ground and looking at that, because I've made that mistake. Like, I didn't see it enough before I went up, and I should have spent a little more time kind of mapping it out. But trying to imagine it, and after you do it a few times, you get pretty good at that. I feel like
So
that's a trick.
how would you? I don't know if it's a problem in anybody's area, but let's talk about oak wilt for a second. Oak wilt here in Michigan is bad, man. I mean, bad. And I feel like if I'm even touching an oak tree in the summertime, it's almost a damn death sentence.
We
And
were just
and
talking. We were just talking about this, me and my brother. Okay, I'm here.
so I've had some people say, yeah, use a prune sealer. You know, if you cut them and use a prune sealer. Okay, and then I've heard people no prune sealer. You know, because nature takes care of herself. And, you know, using a prune sealer causes more decay. And it's like, you know, honestly, the truth be told, man, I don't get much calls for trimming at all. There's very, very rare, honestly, that I get a call for any sort of trimming. But um, yeah, I just won't. I'm afraid to touch a freaking oak tree in the summer months. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I think what I was gonna say, like I'm here in Missouri, I'm in the middle. My
Hmm.
cousin lives south, still in Missouri. Now they had tornadoes and ice storms really bad down there. I'm telling you, he has no like, dude. He's the guy that's like, I'll show up and cut it however you want. I don't give a damn. And I'm just like, I just don't work like that. That's not saying nothing bad about him. He
Sure.
does what that person wants, and I don't fault any guy for doing that. I wish that like, as long as that man is ready to stand on what happens to that afterwards, like I don't like how they can like just butcher something and then be like, "Oh, it's just the nature of the tree." No, no, but they're taking and they will cut these pin oaks, red oaks off at the first fork, and they grew back to perfect shrubs. They're trees, full trees now, and like it has to be something with the humidity and stuff because if I did that same thing up here where it gets cooler and shit, we'll deal with oak wilt and stuff. So like I I use pruning sealer when I'm forced to do something out of season. Like that's when I would use it because I don't want the tree to have a spot where it just continuously leaks like an open wound.
Sure. So hear me out with there. So if you were doing a removal of an oak tree, would you also treat the stump when you got done not trimming, you actually removed the oak? Would you paint the stump when you left or no?
No.
Okay, and I think we would be wrong for not doing that. And the reason, and I don't either, Mike, I'll be the first one to say I don't paint the damn stump. But as far as I understand it, it's systemic. So if we cut a tree at the stump, just like we would cut a branch on it, it's still susceptible to oak wilt and it can still get into the root system and then spread to nearby trees. So even if we go in there and say remove one tree out of a group, if we don't treat that stump, they are still susceptible to oak wilt.
We don't have it like that. Like
Oh,
we'll get canker.
it's
Yeah,
bad up
we'll get
here, man.
canker and like they'll ooze black if you trim them at the wrong time and they'll have a black stain all down them and they I think it's called canker and it'll start to slowly kill the tree, you know? So I don't I don't know, man. The ones that I see that end up dying, it's usually just one here and there. And usually it's because a guy gaffed the piss out of it and just spiked the living hell out of it or tried to trim it and like they top stuff down here. You got to understand where I'm at. Like people drove
I
through the
agree with
country.
you, Greg. It is taking it too far. I agree. Sorry.
Yeah, I
Sorry about
mean,
that.
but people like drove through the country. I feel like that's what this place where I live. This was nothing but country. We got a little town now, but you're driving through the country and you're seeing that these farmers have butchered little trees and they grow
Mhm.
back and become nice little round trees. Well, those were like fruit trees and shit. Like, and they didn't care about that tree, but they seen like it worked. So I feel like that's how people will top anything now. Like where
Yeah.
I'm at, dude, I'm telling you, there's hat racks everywhere. I could walk outside and I guarantee you there's one really close to me.
It's really bad, and I forget where at in Ohio. I think it's near Cincinnati. Was it Cincinnati? Cleveland or something.
Yeah,
Anyway,
because
my wife and I went down to Ohio, and I swear to God, every single tree that I seen for miles and miles and miles was topped.
yeah, a Bradford
Municipality.
pear the
What's that?
Bradford pear probably grows there,
Okay.
and they'll top a Bradford. There are trees that I could say I've done it. I have literally I cut a Bradford pear off at the ground This tree was 18, and I cut the tree clean off, 6 inches off the ground. I come back 2 years later, and there is a perfect little tree there that grew out of that stump. That tree should have died without. Those things are weeds. They'll come back no matter what you do. But that tree will not have a very long life. I don't care what anybody says. Because I'm the guy that's got to get up in them trees and retrim them after some dude butchered them. So I get to see what's happening up there on all them knuckles when they
Mm-hmm.
cut stuff. The stuff that you can't see from the ground or from your window, you know? So that's where I feel like it's a battle where I'm at. I'm still trying to convince people that topping's not bad, and it's
So what I'm interested in, Peter, and just made me think of this. Can you? What the hell would happen to a palm tree if you topped it, Peter? Is it just dead? Is it like, because I don't know anything about a freaking palm
yeah.
tree.
I would like to, because that's actually considered to be like a grass. It's
Yeah,
not an actual tree.
I
It's
know.
considered a grass. So
Which is weird, man. I want
yeah,
to
that's
climb
strange.
one. I think I want to climb one, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know. After I seen some of them ones that do this, then I'm like, or the one
Yeah,
where the guy's going back and forth. Now,
I thought so, Peter. So once you cut its head off, it's over. It's just they're not very strong. I don't imagine either. Yeah,
so
Dave,
think
you're
about
probably
that.
right.
There's that living part of that tree that produces everything. And then the trunk is just pushing it closer to the sun. So that it gets more and more of the sun. So it's just pushing it close as it can to the sun. So it can get more and not be prevented from anything around it. And the head's the only thing really living. But I guess the trunk has to be living enough to hold it up in the air. So it's like the fact that you can whack that little spot at the top off there, which doesn't seem that big, and that thing's done. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, nobody's by Greg, nobody's advocating topping trees, man. We're all saying that we are not for it. Like, I don't know anybody that is actually for topping of trees, my friend.
Oh no, you just you don't live somewhere where ice storms happen and people have already butchered something and then that thing has to be retrimmed. It becomes I think I think a lot of topping could be I don't I hate to say that because there are only certain trees like there's soft maples and Bradford pears would be the only two trees that I would legitimately tell someone you could probably get away with, but you are signing it to its death wish. It will eventually become completely hollow because we're gonna cut it off. It's gonna have one lead there, and all of a sudden, where we cut it off, where it had one branch or two, it now has five or six. They
Yeah,
get mature. The tree says, "I don't want all six." It purposely kills a couple off so that it can keep the rest of them living. And the people don't want to pay to have that dead taken out, have it immediately cleaned, and decay happens. Water, the limb breaks, water sits there. Before you know it, the entire tree is hollow. So if you're topping it, I feel like you're signing its death wish. You can try to prolong it, but it just
the only time I've ever seen topping work, man, is in like fruit tree applications or
yeah,
whatever. It's the only
yeah.
time.
That's why I think Bradford pears work so good with it. Like I've never seen anything and plus it's an invasive species. They don't even want us planting them. I've been told do not like I can get in trouble if I get caught planting one because they don't want them. That's how they grow everywhere. And they crossbreed
Sure.
with our honey locusts and they start to grow a thorn on them, which is even worse. So I always promote tree health and don't believe in topping. I do actually.
Yeah, that's crazy with those freaking I was just going to say something about that bridge burner. I know you guys were swamped with that ice storm that went through. It hit here first, and then you got it. You guys got it really bad. And then Peter, you guys with the hurricanes, man. No.
Well, here, bridge burner. What?
No
Well, so
hurricanes.
do you feel like? Do you feel like since he's very? I think you're just looking at it from like a textbook mindset. Like there's no set rules in this. They vary. Some of these rules need bent sometimes. You think that any place that has a mall or a big corporation is just never going to have trees because they have a rule at them places that they butcher these trees down so they can see their store from the road. They have their weird little rules. Like, and there comes a time where, like, if a tree is so important that like it has to be shrunk, there's been them times where I could understand. I would never back something like that. But
For
you know,
out here, it's always about the view. It's always with somebody with plenty of cash that has a house within this. They on Lake Michigan, and they want that sunset view. And it's crazy because they're literally every single time these houses are on top of sand dunes, man.
jeez,
And you know the slopes. I mean, I've worked on 40-degree slopes, and their house is at the top of it. And the tree, they got a deck out the front of their house, and they can't see the sun, so they want me to go up and top the trees or whatever so they can see the sunset at the water. And it's like, man, you guys are on a freaking hill. It's a beach sand hill. When you cut trees down that are on a hill, I mean, do I have to really explain how erosion and everything works?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, people don't get it, man.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's
But
it's such a weird one because some people like there's just there you have options, and I get where some people that's just what they don't care. Like I think if you're doing like what Bridge Burner says, he explains to them the way things should be done. I feel like if you're doing that and explaining that, like not being shady, where if you have the knowledge where topping's bad, and someone's like, "Will you top this?" and you don't say nothing, all because you want the money. That's shady. That's
I
not like.
agree.
But I feel like if you're going out of your way and you're letting them know, whether it's you or the next person, like there's not really a big difference there. That tree is getting topped, but as long as you're letting them know, eventually maybe that kind of stuff comes to an end. Because if enough people are out there being like, there's a guy that'll do it, but it should not be done. That's the only way to put an end to it. Not to not trim the tree because some other guy's going to come back and do it. If you're like,
For
I
sure.
don't top trees, and you just walk away, that doesn't get anything done.
I,
But
I
if you explain to them why you don't top trees, then I feel like you're doing everything you can do, man.
yeah, Christian, you're saying Northeast Florida, like tree trimming is very important. I imagine it is, man. I imagine it is. You guys get hit with
You know,
storms all the time.
go hire the other guys in, but if you hire us, it's our way. We can reasonably compromise a bit, but in the end, we're the pros. Yeah, yeah, I totally. I mean, you have to. You can't let somebody run your site or anything like that. You can't. But I don't. I kind of approach life with I try to. I'm that guy that's just super nice until you piss me off, and then I'm ready to kill you.
For
That's
sure.
me, man. I go through life. I'm gonna treat you nice as pie, and you may even get one over on me before you got to deal with the repercussions. But like, I'm just that guy. I'm not. I I can't. I try not to be so standoffish because that's my nature to be that way. Like I want to tell everybody how good I am, and like you should listen to me. I'm good, but like I have to remember, hey, chill, man. Like I kind of have to take a step back and like
Uh,
I don't know. It's easy to get in that mode though. I've been there so many
you're,
times.
you're
So many
funny, Greg. You're worse than me, buddy.
Yeah, he's it sounds like he's had a couple of good customers enough to get him good and pissed.
Yeah,
I
well, that
dude,
happens. Hey,
that stuff is the worst. I mean,
Jeff.
that'll ruin your day, ruin your week when you get one of them. Like, I know exactly where he's coming from.
Yes, it
But there's
will. I've ran into quite a few of those lately too, man.
yeah, a lot of my stuff is like repeat. So I have a bit of a relationship with most of these people and I don't run into a lot of the I need to tell you how I am, like, or they just I've built a trust, I think, with a lot of them. So I don't. That's the worst thing when you're first time with somebody and you're like they don't
Absolutely.
trust you and you can feel it.
Yeah.
It's that piss you off, man. It's like I'm about to go put my life on the line in your backyard and you don't trust me. Like that's a
Yeah,
bit aggravating.
I get a lot of people freaked out when they're like, "Oh, you're not going to use the bucket truck? You're going to climb it? Oh my God. What do you mean you're going to climb it? Is that safe? Are you
I've
guys
heard
using ropes and stuff?"
I've heard that once or twice.
I
That's
hear
what
that
the
a
lady.
lot.
That, that's what the lady yesterday did. She was, oh my god, I thought you were bringing a lift in. She come out and I was already up there. My brother's like, nah, that's my brother. He knows what he's doing. And she's like, oh my god, that just does not look safe. And she started freaking. And he's like,
Yeah.
he's good. Then as I start working, she gets totally comfortable after she sees me up there and how I'm moving and everything. So then she wants me to start posing for pictures and smiling. And I'm like, no, no.
That's
I mean,
extra. That's extra. You start.
yeah, I am doing a little, dance for you, but like, let me pick the dance at least. If I got to be like this
I hope
zoo
you're
animal for
insured.
you.
Jeff Schroeder, are you still in here, man? Probably not, but I'm gonna. Jeff Schroeder, are you still in the chat, boss? Let's see if he's
Yeah,
here still.
dude, with our chats being like this hour and something, we go through so many people, and only a few people stay through for the whole thing. But
I'm
so many
sure.
different people pop in, that number changes 50 billion times during
I
the live feed. I
I've
see it
been
every time.
noticing it go up and down, up and down.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
But
cool, man. Yeah, I'm.
so let me hit you with a couple more questions, and then I'll wrap this up.
I roger that.
Um, huh. You ever had any injuries doing this yet?
Yeah. I
You ever cut yourself?
uh, let's see. I gotta knock on wood, and then, God dang it, Mike. Dang. Okay. So the not with a chainsaw.
Yeah, I when I buy a silky, as soon as I walk out of the store, I gash my arm open just to get it over with. So it's like the handsaw, like is real. I don't even think about cutting myself when people are like, "You ever cut yourself?" I don't even consider the 50 million times I've cut myself with a handsaw because that just always happens. But that's
Uh,
that's pretty
yeah,
sweet if you haven't cut yourself with a chainsaw. Let's try to keep that streak going.
yeah. I mean, I don't think you can even see it now. You can't even see it on camera. I was gonna say this left arm right here. I've cut that all the way down to the bone. I've had to tourniquet myself. I've cut through my tracheal artery and everything like that. So I mean, I'm no stranger to that sort of thing. It just wasn't with a chainsaw. Um,
A
Injuries as
couple of
far as work, I cut down a pine tree. It was a red pine. This was years ago, and then they were all in a row. They were all in a row, and anyway, I cut one down. It falls, it hits the ground, and I was standing kind of, behind it because I had to cut it down. Well, when it hit the ground, I was gonna, walk around the side of it and start bucking it, from the back. Well, I was impatient, and when it hit the ground, it came down and it stored all that energy in those limbs. And as I was walking around it, it shot backwards.
yeah.
It shot backwards. It hit me right square in the chest.
Oh,
It hit me square in the chest, threw me up against the tree that it was in the row, because I had a whole row of these trees to take
oh,
out that day. But anyway, yeah, it hits me in the chest, knocks me up against that other tree. It scrapes across my chest and everything, and through my shirt even. It like I got some cuts and scrapes on my chest and whatnot.
yeah. Because you
Yeah,
would imagine the hinge would probably
it,
tear you a little
it,
bit.
it did, man. And my wife just said that I was pretty bruised up too.
Yeah, you're lucky. Some of that. I mean, what was it? A cedar?
It was a red pine. Jack, I
Red
call them
pine.
Jack pines. I call them red
Geez,
pine.
some of them. Think about some of them pieces that hang off them. That you're lucky it didn't just shoot through you. I mean,
So
or
yeah.
into you.
So needless to say, it was the first tree of the damn day that we were doing. I cut the tree down. I went to go around. I got slammed into the tree. I got pretty fuckered up there. I tried to kind of carry on like, I'm gonna just tough this out. I cut, I think, two or three more pieces of wood after that happened.
Just to show
And
you could do it.
and then I left that tree laying in their yard and everything like that. And I went to the customer and I just say, hey, look, I I I gotta leave.
Not today.
I can't do it today. So I went home.
Well, I think the only times I think I've cut myself. I'm gonna go ahead and just knock on the wood before I get to run in my mouth. I cut my hand holding a chunk of wood. I went to go cut a sucker with my top handle, and it hit the sucker and shot up the piece of wood while it was in my hand, and just bam. And like, if I don't hold my hand together, my pinky sets out there because I gashed it. I mean, I gashed it wide open. But when I did that, I wrapped a I wrapped a cloth around it and finished the tree like a bandana, and didn't realize like I wasn't looking. And by the time I looked down, I was like keeping my hand in close.
You
I
were
looked down,
leaking.
I was covered in blood, like just covered. And I couldn't really hide it. I just ran to my truck and was like, "One home." I think I tried to super glue it and everything. I ended up having to go to the hospital and they sewed me up. But
Nice.
then the only other time I cut myself, I was wearing some. I've been using a chainsaw since I was like 5 years old.
Huh.
I was using a chainsaw with some loose pants on. Down by my leg, I was cutting a limb off of a log, and I had the loose baggy pants, and it grabbed the pants and sucked the chainsaw into my leg, and I got this big old swirl out of my leg where in my like right underneath my calf that's just like missing
You're,
a big part of my leg.
you're lucky that's all that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, because I had it throttled out, wound up, and it grabbed a hold of my pant leg, and it just took the nose of the saw and ran it straight into my leg. I thought I destroyed my leg, but I didn't. I just really, really cut it open pretty bad. I didn't. I don't think I went to the hospital for that either. It just oozed like clear liquid for like 2 weeks. I don't even know what that stuff was. Mark and I both blew up on jobs multiple times. Heat stroke, yeah.
Man,
Yeah, I
heat
think
stroke
that's
ain't
probably
no
the
joke,
worst stuff.
man.
That's something that everybody has to deal with for sure. I feel like.
Heat
or
stroke is
it's
bad.
something that more people can relate to. So, you think it's hot outside right now? Put all your gear and your hard hat on, and let's see how safe you are when it's the dead of summer. That's when some guys look around and they take the old hard hat off and put it off to the side. Like it's too damn hot to be wearing that thing today. And I get it, but Dave goes and Davi, he goes and helps my brother. That's where he's been. And he just got smacked in the head the other day. Decided to walk underneath the tree. He's got his hard hat, and he just decided he wasn't going to wear a hard hat and thought everything was safe and got whacked in the head. So
I wear mine religiously, man.
it's rough, though. I will give you that. It
And
is tough to deal with the heat sometimes.
I tell you what, I was leaf blowing my yard the other day, and I had my fanner on.
Did you?
Hell yeah, I did.
Dude, I was this close to. I wasn't going to go buy a motorcycle helmet. I was like, I have a banner. I'm not buying a motorcycle
I don't
helmet.
think
I
that's
got the
DOT
coolest one
approved.
already. And it's
That's
already
not.
got head shit. Dude, I didn't even think about it would just catch all the wind and rip clean off my head first thing. I didn't even think about that. But I'm like, all I was thinking about is it's got earmuffs already and like it looks cool. And I was like, I was bummed when I realized I couldn't use it. I was like, oh, I thought, damn, I think I'm the first guy to do that. Like, I'm gonna be the shit. People are gonna be all the tree guys are gonna be. No, there's a reason why nobody's doing that. So yeah, I thought that was kind of funny, dude. My wife, uh, Christmas is here. She is one of them ones that loves decorating. She just went to the like hobby store and bought damn near I think there's almost 100 of these lights that are they're about this big around, and they're solar powered and they're a big Christmas light, blue, red, green. And I'm gonna do that tulip poplar, that massive tree in my backyard. I'm about to go climb up in it. I'm putting solar lights all throughout it. That way at nighttime it should light up.
She'll love that.
Yeah, I'm not excited about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a backpack on with full of lights, and there's no way I'm gonna be. I can't carry all of them. There's like,
Dude, my wife has me drag in. You should see this damn Christmas tree that we drag in here every year.
did you hang on? Did you see the meme of the guy with the tractor who's pulling the tree through the house, and it says "me" at Christmas time, and it says it'll fit, and he's dragging. He's got a tractor. He's just destroying the house, pulling the tree in. That's what I'm picturing.
That would be my wife. Every year we get between a 12 and 14-foot tree in here,
I
and
dig it, dude.
it's massive.
That's
It looks
awesome.
it looks good once it's in here, but it's holy shit,
It's
man.
a lot of work, ain't
Yeah,
it?
it should be. You got a couple more for me, boss, or that was
I
it.
think we're good. We'll do a few more some other time. If there was a YouTube channel that maybe we haven't ever discussed that you would shout out, who would it be? You see
Oh my
anything
God.
cool?
Oh man. Well, I already hit you up with Jerry. Jerry fell off the map. Jerry Padilla, he's gone. I haven't even seen none of him, but that happens.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I gotta say, Jeff's channel's been rocking. I like that. There's a lot of channels that I'm trying to think of one to help you out here because I feel like I just put you on the spot, and I don't think I have one either.
I can't
So I'm like, hold up.
I cannot think of somebody right off the top of my head.
Yeah, because I used to like there was little channels like that Gregory Odom kid. I used to like him. And I think somebody said in the comments earlier, Tree Boy, his humbleness and like
I would
lack of ego.
definitely he would be cool to be
Is
on here. And
I think that's the reason I liked him so much is the dude is so opening and like offers up whatever, not just to anybody. Like he's just very nice. And a lot of people who get into tree work are we're a motley crew, and so some of the people that are always asking you stuff are like, I could see how some people would be like, piss off, leave me alone. But like that dude, I think that's probably why I liked him so much. Is like I was just some weird like runt. Like, I could
I
do tree
don't.
work. I was a good climber, but some of the stuff he was doing, I'm like, what is that, man? And that dude always answered my questions and helped me out. So
Yeah, you know what? I can think of somebody, Mike. I just can't do it right at this moment. I think like,
when
just
we
on.
yeah, when we stop, it'll pop in something in your head. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
think of one. I found myself watching bucking a little more. Like I need that pick me up of like kindness during the winter months where shit gets tough and
Bucking.
depressing. And
I like. It's not that I've got anything against Bucking by any means. I think
no,
it just he's just. I just don't watch him much.
yeah, it's not my cup of tea all the time, but like nice for a pick me up. Um, but other than that, I don't know. I guess our little crew, I just watch our stuff for the most part. I haven't really seen too many people outside of our group, so I don't think I could really come up with one right now because I'd like to shout out somebody starting a channel, but I don't think I have one either. Well, I'll figure one out. I'll find a new one. So, GP, dude, I appreciate you. Thanks for doing this again.
Absolutely. So, you gonna make me come kidnap you, or?
I'll be able to for sure tomorrow. I'll be able to tell for sure tomorrow. Let me try to see if I can do
Well,
that.
I
Because
will
you're going to be
be.
there Thursday. That's when I
Well,
want to go. So,
I will be in St. Louis tomorrow evening, man.
oh really?
Yeah,
Cool, cool,
I'm. Yep, tomorrow evening I'll be down there. Maybe if I get bored, I'll hit you up.
cool. Sounds good,
All right,
guys.
buddy.
Thanks for hanging out again. Stay safe.